Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review round 27 and what is the end of the NRL SuperCoach season. So I think not unlike, but just like a lot of other people, a bit of a rough week, mostly off the back of running out of trades and injuries and other carnage. So we ended up only with an 11:30, which did see us drop down 1,600 ranks, so fell outside the top 5k, ended up outside the top 6k. So a little bit of a disappointing end of the season, but all things considered, I guess head-to-head wise, I went okay with my personal leagues. Obviously, in the SuperCoach Nuff leagues, you guys are out experting me, which we love to see. So we'll have a look at the team, how it went, and then we'll have a bit more of a dive into the season. So Harry Grant turned up, nice even 100 to finish. Some of these are actually a bit of a surprise to me because I didn't really watch a lot of the footy. I did watch the Bulldogs game on Saturday night, and I wasn't really in the mood for it after that. Reid Marnie with a 44, definitely had a couple of handling errors which limited his scoring there. The front rowers, we just had Finu Curran filling in for our Warriors assets, so we'll take that. Second row again was great. Isaiah Yeo with 66, that's his base, that's fine. Crichton with an 89 and Nicola with a 137, so pretty sure he was my highest. Oh, not quite, so it worked out well with that. But was the Hail Mary was that Porter would get a run and he didn't. Between him and McLean out, so we only ended up with 15 this week. Dylan Brown and Jai Gray in our half. So Dylan Brown only getting 57 in a team that scored 60 points, sort of the opposite of last week. So that was a little bit disappointing, but, I don't think anyone smashed it from the Eels. It was all pretty evenly spread around. Jai Gray with 67 was quite good, though. Got him bottom dollar, so, to make 300k, I'm pretty sure we did. We'll have a look at that in a minute. So, he made 300k towards the end of the season and just a valuable number. Centre wings were a bit disappointing. Eero top scoring with 62. Lomax 52 is okay. Garrick 32 is probably below par, but, after his efforts last week, we can't be too upset with him. And Kiraz 25 just, I guess, couldn't really get involved again. So we'll probably see his price dip a little bit for next year, which is handy, but average of 71 suggests he'll be pretty expensive. Talangi on the bench with 52. Dom Young was a late out, so we sort of hoped McLean might find a way in. Didn't work out. And James Tedesco, absolutely smashed it. Up over the $1 million mark, averaging 94 for the year, 140 this week. So I think his price is going to be the only thing that holds you back from making him a must-have for next season. So no game day to look at. So I thought what we could do is just have a bit of a review of the, the season. So we'll go to the history section. And obviously, started off super slow with that 766, which had me coming back from 100,000th. Sort of got back reasonable, 13k, but then another big slip in round 5. So I guess we sort of spent most of the season just chasing our tail. Lots of trades being made to try and claw our way back up. And somewhat sort of peaked going into the Origin buy period. And then another little slip in between Origin 2 and 3. Possibly on the back of, Tedesco being named in Origin and sort of, having to do a bit of shuffling around there. But eventually sort of regained some traction and a nice little run late. But then obviously last round was a bit of a disaster. But if we ever go through all the trades, we can sort of assess how we went. So the first trade was in round 2, just getting on Terrell May, which was a pretty good call given he was, looking to make some money at that time. I think I cashed out before he peaked, but that's neither here nor there. But got Tedesco in, and like I said, I think we wasted a few trades on him this year, which was unfortunate. But Ponga, I think, was he injured at that time? Maybe that was the move. But, chase some cash with Lussick and Hosking. I think we did all right out of that. Hosking. So we got 90k, and I'm pretty sure he got injured that next week. So, had to make that move. But got the hammer, got Kiraz in at 635. So that was, okay value, I think. And Galvin obviously was a great cash generator for us this year. Got Talangi as well at bottom dollar, which was nice. Kai Pearce-Paul did a little bit for us going into that first buy round, so that's fine. And then Brown out for Nicker. I'm trying to think what Brown that was. Was it Dylan Brown? Yeah, it was. There you go. So Dylan Brown's another one that sort of went in and out of the team. I remember he was a bit flat at the start of the year, but that moved to halfback with Moses getting injured. So it was one we could have potentially held, but Nicker was good. Schiller was definitely a little cash grab. And then cashed out on the hammer, so probably, didn't really make the smartest move there. Didn't commit to the keeper. So was that Liam Martin I tried to bring in? Oh no, Tamari Martin, that's right, he went okay as the cash generator. Ben Travojevic to Kale Hero, before he went up in price, so that was obviously a nice move. And Angus Crichton at 460, so that's a really great move considering he made 300k from that point basically. So yeah, he started the season a bit slow on the bench and that, but then once he took off, he was sweet. So upgraded Terrell May to Payne Haas, round 8. So what do we get from May? Only about 80k. And I think he had a couple of his big scores after that, particularly through Origin. So, probably went a bit quick on Payne Haas. And Taylor May out or in for Talangi. That's right. I took a little pun on Taylor May. Obviously didn't work out. So maybe on the never again list, but we'll see. Tedesco out. I think, was he injured perhaps? I think it might have been something like that. Got Trey Fuller in to start making some cash out of him. And then Strange and Schiller, sort of did their job. So we got Garrick and Asako. So nice upgrades there on the center wing. Although I think Asako we ended up selling for cheaper. So I guess he was good through the Origin period with the buy coverage and his New Zealand status, I guess. Round 10, so Pappenhausen out. I think that's when he got injured, so we brought in Scott Drinkwater for the buys, or the first buy. Armstrong was the cheapie, obviously made some money out of him, and upgraded to David for feeder, which I think worked out well. He didn't play Origin, which helped. Paid up. What did he end up? I think he was a little bit cheaper in the end, but yeah, 621. Definitely dipped in form towards the back end of the year. But I do remember we definitely got some good scores out of him. Yeah, through the Origin period. It's just sort of, I guess, once the Titans were out, he's dipped a little bit in value. Had to trade Cleary out, so that's fine. Jacob Gagai made us some good money, so that's all good. So Talangi back in, so he kicked again, so we missed out on 100 and it was for Terrell May too. So if we just held Talangi, we would have saved a trade or 2 trades and made another 100k. So there's probably something in that, just to be a bit patient with those cheapies. Kick out of Plath, yeah, that was fine. Kicks, he was a early season punt that didn't pay off. Nico Hines out, must have been with the injury. So Fanua Blake, just loading up a keeper. And hands for Lussick, just making some extra cash there. Brought in Finu, he'd made a bit of money by that point, but we got a bit more value out of him. So a bit late to the party, but not the worst trade. Sam Hughes finally out. So for Porter, I think that was, and then upgraded hands to Marshall King, which was unfortunate with the injury, didn't quite work out the way we wanted. And Katoa, he was quite good for us, so happy to pay up there. Armstrong and Fuller out for Sharp and Lomax, so that was just one up, one down, locking in a keeper. So with Marshall King out, we took the punt on Marnie, which was another flop. Drinkwater out for Tommy Turbo and Smithies to Gray. So I think good trades in the end there. Obviously, Turbo going down injured the last 2 weeks was unfortunate, but I think still the right move. So cashed out Sharp and he kicked again. So obviously taking up a fullback spot made it difficult. But yeah, you could have got 450k if you held him. Not that you can do much with it now at the end of the season. But Galvin, you can see we cashed out, made 360k profit or 400. No, 300. He kicked again after round 20. But Tedesco back in, so you can see there's a couple of times we've backflipped and brought players back in. Cleary was another one, but obviously that was injury related. Bought in McLean as well, so cashed out Gagai, so that's a nice move. Haas to Barnett, in the end, probably wasn't the best move. Tarpany, I think, would have scored more points, particularly in those last couple of weeks. So pulled the wrong rein there. Cleary to Sam Walker, and then just, unfortunate what happened to Walker. Eventually went to Dom Young, but, by Osako lost value. And Isaiah is always a good pick, so that was, I think, the right move with the last trade. So I guess just have a final look at the overall points. So Tedesco number one by about 100 points. So, and I think given New South Wales won, you imagine Dylan Edwards would be in the box seat for Origin next year. So I think Tedesco is definitely on the radar. The only thing is going to be his price with that 94 average. Scott Drinkwater at number 2, playing 24 games obviously helps with that. Slightly lower average, but he does score the points. So one depending on the draw next year that we could go with. So Val Holmes is probably the one we would have liked to got on, and I think this probably highlights the key thing that I still haven't mastered with the the new SuperCoach. Kira's at number 4, Lomax at number 5. So 3 centre wings in the top 5. I only had 2 of them, and while there's lots of value in the centre wing, I think you do have to try and upgrade to these keepers as quickly as you can. I probably, went early on the likes of a Nikora, Fanua Blake, Payne Haas in the forwards. While they do have some upside, it's just not as electric as these guys. And clearly going without the likes of Holmes. And I thought he'd be a bit higher up on the list, but no, he's well down the list. Dom Young, wherever he is. So he only finished 43rd, but you can see he averaged 71, just injuries, suspensions, like that send-off where he got a negative 15. You take that out, that average is actually a bit higher. So he was one I sort of was very flat on throughout the year, and he proved me wrong more often than not. But Jerome Hughes, number 1 halfback. But I guess, it could be the safe option going forward. Cleary is probably the locked in option at the price. But with Nico Hines sort of dipping a bit in value, Hughes could be the sort of number 2 guy. So it could be a potential strategy to target him next year. Isaiah Yeo, super consistent, and with Cleary out, he lifted, so that was very helpful. Katoa had another great year. So Tom Travojevic, again, high average, just can't string a full season together, unfortunately. Dylan Brown, surprisingly solid, just playing all the games helps, averaging 66. So I think that does make him the top 5/8 for the year. Fantastic. Damien Cook, I think after Demetrio got sacked, he was probably the form hooker. So he was probably the one we should have got on over even Marshall King way back when. But his price will be a bit elevated going to St. George next year. Be interesting to see how him and Little go, because Jacob Little was quite good at the back end of the season. Mitch Barnett. So we talked about him, obviously just a bit flat the last couple of weeks, playing on that edge. But if he can get that middle role for 80 minutes, absolute beast. Angus Crichton bounced back. He has been a super coach great in the past, but sort of is back to his full form. this year, which was great to see. Hudson Young, he's always up and around the mark. Him and Nickera, they're sort of at that level, averaging 70. So alongside Fafita, who's a bit higher average, just missed a couple of games. Don't have to go through everyone. We'll just flick on averages. So Jamie Humphries, be interesting to see how they price that next year. I imagine it wouldn't be too much higher, only playing the one game. But Latrell, for all his mishaps, he's elite. Dylan Edwards, obviously out with a bit of an injury, but I guess, averaging 85 means he won't be that much cheaper than Tedesco, Travojevic next year. And with the Origin sort of incumbency, might be a point of difference more so than must have. Nathan Cleary is Nathan Cleary. So Jerome Hughes actually averaged the same. So, I guess having the New Zealand not playing Origin advantage, might be a few people looking at Hughes next year. The 187 has definitely boosted his starting price though. But Ponga, and then you can see Holmes, Lomax, like we talked about, centre wings up there, out averaging second rowers like Angus Crichton was the highest with 77, I should say. Herbie Farmworth actually averaged 74 at the end, so he had a massive year. That massive score 2 weeks ago against the Broncos helped with that. So what if we go by highest price? So I think, it'd be interesting. This is the guy I'm targeting for next year. Tino, only played 2 games before getting injured. So, that average of 47. Yeah, so only the 30 against the Dogs sort of dragging him down. So I think he'll start quite cheap next year, not obviously at a 47, but whatever price he's at, whether it's a 50-ish sort of mark, here's the number one target. We'll build our forward pack around him. But just looking, I don't think there's too many other flops really. Guess Kyle Felt must have had a late season burst, averaging 66 for the year. Yeah, so Jacob Little. So that's what I mean. Like the Dragons got 2 gun hookers, so might cancel each other out. Be interesting to see where Campbell Graham lands next year once he's back fit. Dane Laurie, I think he's staying at Penrith, so I thought if he was one of the ones, he would come from the Tigers. That's what I was thinking of. I thought if he's going to the Tigers, could offer a bit of value, averaging 52. But after that, they're all pretty fairly priced, so it's going to be you get what you get next year, I think, with those guys. So I guess, like I said, lessons learned is mostly just got to be more aggressive with the center wings. I think that's the key. I definitely, was like in the past, I wouldn't have looked at a Lomax or a Dom Young, but sort of cracked over the season. So I think, next year, like there'll always be cheapies in here. So, it will be as much as possible, load up on the cheapies and then slot the guns in. And then, just do the best that we can with the forward packs. And I think as well, maybe the hookers, like I guess, Harry Grant did end up averaging 70, but he definitely had his flat periods through the year. So if we just go back by position, I didn't see too many up there. Obviously, Cookie was there, but yeah, so go by average. So so not Humphries, obviously. Been talking for too long, the headset cut out. So yeah, Cookie, Jacob Little averaging 65. So there's a few options. Coruscant, Reece Robson at 60, Connor Watson at 60, and then Reid Marnie sort of dipped. Marshall King could be good value. Only averaging 56. We know he is capable of that 60 plus. But yeah, I don't know if we need to go too big in the hooker spot. But obviously, there's a lot to go through. Off-season player transfers, pre-season, all that good stuff. So not going too early. But yeah, for me, I think it's trying to load up the centre wing a bit quicker. I've seen a lot of teams that are quite successful. They had sort of 2 decent front rowers and just locked them in. They weren't generating any cash off their bench. but they were totally okay with that, and it seemed to work out well. So definitely something I think I can take away from that is try to make more happen at the back and not worry too much about what's going on up front. But we'll wrap the video up there. It's probably gone too long for a season review, but just wanted to have a bit of time to reflect and I guess try and garner some insights. So if you've got anything else for me, feel free to throw that in the comment section. Give us a like if you enjoy the NRL content, although we'll be on hiatus for a bit. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content we've got over the summer. I think there's one more spot in the NBL SuperCoach, so I will put the link in the description. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.